Hey guys, I hope you are doing well. I hope that you had a good spring break as much as you can have a spring break at this point. Like I said in my email, I'm sorry that I didn't finish your papers. I will work on those and try to get them done so that we can discuss them um, on Thursday. So I'll work on those and get those done as soon as I can. So I apologize for not having them done. So what we'll do is we'll go through and do a little discussion on um, continuing on chapter 15. And if you have any questions or anything, you can send me a WeChat or you can shoot me an email as well, or leave any comments on the video and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. So I will go ahead and share my screen and we can go from there. Okay, so this is kind of where we left off. We were talking last class about different ways in which LRAS can shift and change. So if you're unfamiliar, I know it's been a little bit because we didn't focus too much on this stuff the previous week, and then we had a week off. So, excuse me. So I know that you might need to do a little bit of revision. But this is what we're going to focus on today, which is going to be looking at short-run aggregate supply. So remember that what makes aggregate demand and aggregate supply really different than aggregate or regular supply is that we can break it up into two different sections. We can break it up into short run, or SRAS, and long run, or LRAS. Short run is going to operate a lot similar to kind of what you would be used to in a regular supply and demand situation. Oh my goodness, sorry. So there is going to be that positive relationship between average price level, and the amount of output that a country can produce. So what makes it short run? It's over a period of time, and it's where certain aspects of the factors of production are fixed. So we're not able to adjust all of the factors of production. This should be something similar to some of the stuff that the HLs might be familiar with already. So in this situation, if you're able to improve output, it's also going to change price. So there is that relationship between an increase in output and an increase in average price levels. So that's really important as well, showing that there is that relationship there. That might not be there in a long run, but in the short run there is. Oh my goodness, I'm yawning a lot. So what can cause shifts in SRAS? So know that a lot of the shifts, the idea is still the same, right? That you can have a change in price that wouldn't cause a shift of the line, but then you could also have a some sort of change of factor that would cause a shift in the line. So a change in similar to micro, similar to what we've previously talked about, a change in price is going to result in um, movement on the short run aggregate supply line, whereas any of these changes will result in a move of the short run aggregate supply line. So that could be things like changes of wage, so the amount of money people make. It could be things like changes of inputs, so the cost of inputs, so the cost of raw materials. It could be a change in the price of imports as well, could cause a shift. Because if imports become cheaper, then consumption of domestic goods would go down, which would be a leftward shift of SRAS. And then it could be as well a change in the government. If the government decides to subsidize stuff or tax things, then it could result in a shift of SRS. And you'll notice that a lot of these are actually similar to the ideas that you would have talked about in micro. So it's actually not that much of a new idea. So yeah. So there's a video here on Econ that kind of helps you walk through it. I'll leave that for you if you want to watch it and get a little bit more practice. It's there for you. So this idea of combining aggregate supply and aggregate demand, or really aggregate demand and short run aggregate supply, you can see here that it's a short run graph. That idea is very similar to the micro one. So this graph looks very similar. It's just the axes are labeled a little bit differently, and we're looking at a short run here instead of just supply. So what could cause a shift of supply? A lot of this we've actually already mentioned previously, but we'll quickly go through and cover it real quick. For supply, so it says overall the goal of supply side policy is to increase the potential or the quantity of factors of production to increase the potential output of the economy as a whole. So our goal here is to either improve the potential of the economy or improve the overall economy as a whole. So there are lots of different ways that we can do that. We can do that through investment in human capital, so improving the quality of the people you have working. We can do that through research and development, coming up with new technologies that would increase the capacity that we can produce. Improving existing factors of production, so making the roads better, making the airports better, making cars better, whatever it is, right? So, and in some level of improvement of those factors of production could potentially cause a shift in LRAS. And then you could also, it says direct support, what's also called direct provision, which is just directly providing something to a particular business. Most of the time, these interventions are done to provide or to promote merit goods. So things like promoting education or promoting technology, because these are going to be underprovided in a free market. If you're looking to quickly increase the production within an economy, normally you don't want to do supply side policies, you want to do demand side policies. So what that means is that you want Normally, you will do demand side policies first and then do supply side policies second. So you'll do things like increasing aggregate demand first, and then you will do aggregate supply side policy second. Market-based policies, again, you don't talk a ton about them, but you do need to know them. We kind of already mentioned them a little bit. These are going to be where governments allow for the market to reach more of an equilibrium. So instead of intervening in the market, we're going to allow the market to operate more towards a free market situation. So things like reduction in taxes would be a market-based policy. Anything that would make hiring and firing of people easier would be a market-based policy. So that could be things like reducing the powers of trade unions, or getting rid of minimum wages, or getting rid of benefits. Obviously, these have a lot of impacts as well. You might be a way to grow the aggregate supply side of the economy, but it's going to have other impacts. So if you're recommending one of these policies, which is perfectly fine, you need to also think about what other impacts are there. Deregulation, so getting government out of businesses, would be one way as well to move closer towards a free market, which would then result in potential growth. Same thing, these two kind of go together. And then again, we're just moving closer towards a free market. So market-based supply side policies are going to be anything that allows the market to operate more towards equilibrium and more towards a less interventionist approach. Okay. So that is it for chapter 15. Sorry, I'm a little tired today, but and sorry it's a little late, this video. Yeah, so because it's the end, what I would like for you to do for your assignment is to just submit your notes for chapter 15. You can email those to me whenever you get a chance. And then I will see you guys on Thursday. If you have any questions or you need anything, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email or send me a WeChat. Okay. I hope you guys are well. I miss you guys, and I will see you on Thursday.